E kept his word, and whenever possible, protection he did provide, though Ling couldn't help wondering if it had been the right decision. It was E who, behind the scenes, kept creating reasons to delay his surgery, arguing that the two would eventually be married and he would want to be a part of it. It was E who decided they would get married, and it was E who was becoming more and more frustrated with this decision. Ling knew his mother was right. E had made a lot of sacrifices for him. Looking at his watch, he realized he needed to stop reminiscing and headed directly to the import supermarket. E no longer lived in the same luxury that he did as a child. After graduating from the top university, he had rejected the pressure and expectation of entering a high-positioned government job and instead decided to become a teacher. Ling felt this too was partially his fault, as he was not a proper woman. It would have been risky for E to work in the public eye. E always vehemently denied that Ling was the reason he didn't work in government. Yet, like many other problems, he would refuse to discuss it further whenever Ling spoke to him about it. Today, it wasn't as if they currently lived badly by current standards, but it was rare for the two of them to do something more luxurious. The country's isolation policies and economic difficulties had made anything coming from the outside world extraordinarily expensive. The import market wasn't large, but it offered better meats, better fruits, and some hard-to-get items like higher quality milk, bread, and canned goods. Foods that E would have eaten every day as a governor's son, but could no longer afford on a teacher's salary. Ling bowed to this familiar security guard as he walked in. There were no explicit rules banning the common people from entering the supermarket, yet it was clear that this was a place for exclusive members, and the guard was there to detour anyone who didn't quite belong. Ling became especially excited when he noticed that they had watermelons, as the fruit was not in season. It was E's favorite fruit, and though it would be heavy to carry home, he knew it would be the perfect dessert to put a smile on his face. Checking the time, Ling immediately noticed how late it was and did his shopping briskly before heading home. Walking along the dike by the river, Ling smiled to himself. He could not hide the joy coming out of him. He felt oddly confident. He had all the ingredients to make a perfect dinner. Tonight would be different. Tonight he would fix things. Even though things were different now, they used to be good friends. Tonight things would be fixed. The words repeated over and over in his mind. A motorcycle appeared out of nowhere, driving fast and nearly hitting Ling. In a swift motion, he leaped out of the way and accidentally dropped his bags as he dodged the incoming vehicle. He cried out as the watermelon popped out of his bag and began rolling down the side of the dike before splashing into the river. Ling couldn't believe his bad luck, but he felt a sense of relief when he looked over the edge. The watermelon did not appear to break from the fall. It bobbled about 2 meters from shore, drifting among floating trash in the oily river. If he could find a way to grab it, he knew the hard shell of the watermelon would have protected the meat inside. Walking down to the bank around the river, he searched the shore frantically for anything at all that could be used to pull the watermelon back to shore. With any luck, he could find a long stick, a pole, or an old oar that had drifted from upstream. As he searched, he watched the watermelon float upon the soft currents, pushing through the garbage and oil, before finally tangling in some brown reeds underneath the bridge. It stopped, just bobbing in the water. Ling looked around. There was nothing he could use to reach the watermelon from shore. However, he noticed as he looked down, the water didn't appear too deep here. It was at most waist deep, and the watermelon was only a few meters away. Looking around and seeing no one, Ling accepted that the only way he could rescue his precious watermelon was to enter the river and retrieve it himself. Slowly, he stripped off his dress and lowered himself into the water. The sound of him splashing awoke the slight cry of something alive that echoed under the bridge. Surprised, he looked around for the source of the noise. Downstream from him, he saw the silhouette of a basket floating in the surrounding debris, hidden by the shadow of the towering bridge above. Concluding it could be the source of the cry, he grabbed the watermelon, waded towards the basket, and dragged both the basket and the watermelon to shore. From the outside, it looked like a normal bamboo basket with a lid, one you would find being used by any nanny in a supermarket. He could see slightly soggy blankets sticking out of the sides. Hesitantly, he opened the lid, unsure what he would find outside. He didn't know what he was expecting to find, but it certainly wasn't what he found. For inside was a baby, probably no more than a few months old, wrapped in a white cloth. It burped and cried as Ling looked down at it. Ling looked around. There were still no other people in sight up or down the riverbank. Ling hesitated. There was no way Yi was going to be happy with this decision, but somehow he felt it was the right decision to be made. Leaving the watermelon behind, Ling took the baby out of the basket, wrapping him up so no one could see him, and began quickly walking home.